They're 4-5. Even if they lose next week, the bye week comes back after that. Because the thing is, Deebo Samuel's supposed to come back next week, but he's coming off a hamstring injury. How many touches is he going to get? Is he going to be Deebo Samuel from the Rams game or Deebo Samuel from the Eagles game? Like where he's kind of getting his feet wet. So look, if they win next week, it seems like they're still contenders. If they lose next week, they got the bye week. They're going to get a bunch of players back. Is this season over right now, or can they do something? Botond.
Well, first of all, for the question with Deebo, I think that we are watching the 49ers as a really different team with Nick Mullens as it is with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Kyle Shanahan has much more expectations from Nick Mullens than he has from Jimmy Garoppolo. You can see that while you just watching the plays that Shanahan calls. Nick has a lot of really hard through to make, and I think that we haven't seen that from Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like Nick Mullens has a really different playbook.
I've noticed this too, and it's like I interpret it different though. Like you're positive about it. Like this means that Shanahan trusts Nick more. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as Kyle Shanahan protecting Jimmy more and just throwing Nick to the wolves. I mean, it's great that he lets Nick throw the ball down the field. But at the same time, when you're throwing to River Craycraft and getting protected by Justin School, it's like a kamikaze mission. You're going to get cracked. And Nick took some huge hits in that game that the Niners worked very hard to protect Jimmy Garoppolo from taking. And what I see is when Jimmy's in the game, we talk about it, man. I call him Jimmy Gimmies. Kyle Shanahan calls like 10 or 15 Jimmy Gimmies a game. Shovel passes, screen passes, all stuff to protect him and to inflate his numbers and make him look better than he is. Where are those stuff for Nick? He never calls Jimmy Gimmies for Nick. Every time Nick, it's like, hey, second play of the game, we're taking a shot. Hey, we're taking a shot, Nick. And if you get cracked, get back up. And if you don't, we got CJ. I think it's much more of this guy's making $27 million. If I get him hurt, I'm going to have to answer to a lot of people. This guy's making $750K. If I get him hurt, no one cares. Not my fans, not my owner, not my GM. So, Nick, go get him, buddy.
On the other hand, I think that if this is the truth, then I have a lot of questions. First of all, if that's truth and that is the real mentality of Kyle Shanahan, then I must ask that is he the perfect person to be a head coach of this team right now? Because all I've ever heard of the San Francisco 49ers, of course, I'm not a native American. I was in Santa Clara, I was in San Francisco, but I'm not living there. But everything that I have learned in the past 10 years, 15 years, while I was a fan for the 49ers, is that everything for this team is the wins.
Mm-hmm.
And you must have that winner mentality. Even though you don't have the best players up, you have to do everything to win a single game. That's why this team is so famous, not just in America, but here in Hungary as well. The first catch, the second catch, the catch. Right. I think those were moments which described this organization and which gave this organization a name and the mentality that you should expect from the head coach of this team. And if this is true what you have said before about Kyle Shanahan, that I would ask that, does he have that mentality?
No, I would agree. I mean, a real head coach would go to Kyle Shanahan and say, dude, call the same plays for Nick that you called for Jimmy. Give Nick a chance. Why are you – it almost like he's subversive. He's like, I don't want to be married to Nick, dude. There's no way that I'm going to have people pressure me to have Nick be my starting quarterback next year. So I'm just going to call plays that I would call for John Elway. And if Nick steps up and wants to be John Elway, great. If not, then I'm gonna move on next year and get the quarterback I want, aka Kirk Cousins. I have a lot of conspiracy theories about Kyle, but he coaches so well for Jimmy. I mean, we see it. He makes Jimmy look good with those shovel passes, and they didn't get to a single screen until they were down, until the 1:15 left in the third quarter, down 31-3. What is that? That's a terrible game plan, and you don't see that now. Maybe it's because Deebo Samuel didn't play, but that's a poor excuse. Richie James Jr. ran a shovel. He got one shovel pass in this game and gained 5 yards. That's fine. Do it again. Yeah. Richie James can do it. Here's the thing. Next week when they play the Saints, Kyle Shanahan better have his A game on They better have all those gadget plays, even though Deebo Samuel's coming off an injury. They better use Richie James Jr. They better use Kyle Juszczyk. They better never play River Craycraft again. And if they just do the things they did against the Rams and Patriots, they can win.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. I think because what I'm sure that Nick Mullens can make throws that Jimmy can't.
Yep.
And I think with the same game plan.
Yep.
With the same mentality that Kyle has when he's playing with Jimmy Garoppolo, the same helping mentality, the same confidence building up mentality, I think that we can be still in the playoffs.
Yes, and I think it's
a chance to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think they're closer to being into the playoffs than to getting a top 10 pick. I think they could sneak in. But the wild card teams all have 5 wins. They have 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we beat the Rams before, so
that's right.
Again, and it wasn't because of Jimmy Garoppolo. It was just because the great game plan that we had. And I think if Kyle can do that again and again and again, then I think that maybe we can also beat the Seahawks.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
a chance
to me,
that we can beat the Seahawks if we get, for example, Richard Sherman back, because I think that Emmanuel Mosley is great. Okay, Jason Verrett is great, although he was poor last game, I'm sorry. But they don't have that physical mentality that Richard Sherman has. Although Richard has to have some safety help because he lacks the speed that he had before. But I think on the short passes, he can be a great matchup for DK Metcalf. Way better matchup for DK Metcalf than the other 2 guys that we have on the cornerback position.